Offseason has been flat out terrible. We've already received some planet delusional calls where Steelers fans are trying to defend it. Well, they're doing the best they can. They had no money. Well, that's Kevin Colbert's fault. That's Kevin Colbert's fault. And they signed Juju Smith-Schuster. They brought him back. I mean, this defense, they just let Steven Nelson go. That means they've lost Tyson Alualu, Bud Dupree, Steven Nelson, Vince Williams, and Mike Hilton. How can anyone who's a Steeler fan be anything but angry? I just don't understand it. Some great conversation on the Philadelphia Eagles, why signing Joe Flacco is actually a great thing in terms of maybe, hopefully, there's a plan here, and Flacco's the absolute backup, and Jalen Hurts is the guy. And with that 6th overall pick, you draft a stud receiver, or Kyle Pitts if he's there, or you could draft an offensive tackle. And that, to me, would be a plan. Let Jalen Hurts have a chance. You drafted him. I was a Jalen Hurts fan coming out of college. I liked him in the draft process last year as a solid second-round pick with upside. Hated him for Philadelphia for all the reasons we documented. You made the bed. Now I think it's all said and done. Have to make sure that you give Jalen Hurts an opportunity to be successful. So that has been a major topic for discussion. The biggest topic on the show has been the Green Bay Packers, and we went through the Packers giving Aaron Rodgers a $6.8 million roster bonus, but how that impacts his future, how it impacted the salary cap now. They wouldn't transfer the money and carry it over with the cap hit for next year. I mean, you have to wonder aloud if Aaron Rodgers is going to, 2021, if this is going to be his final season wearing a Packer uniform. And it always goes back to Jordan Love and the Jordan Love draft pick. And, now that they pay him that roster bonus instead of moving it down the road or kicking it to 2022, listen, A, it hurts what they could have spent at free agency now, and B, we try to make it a little bit cleaner for departure in 2022. And that's just how you have to dot the I's across the T's on this. And if the Packers don't win this year, I think there's a very realistic chance that Aaron Rodgers says, guys, I got to go. You want me to go. You drafted Jordan Love, and Aaron Rodgers is finishing out his career with the San Francisco 49ers. Or Aaron Rodgers is the next quarterback of the Denver Broncos. Or Aaron Rodgers is slinging the ball in Carolina. Or, ready for this? Aaron Rodgers is playing for Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. I mean, where do you want me to go with this? I think those spots, sadly, are all more realistic than the Green Bay Packers in 2022 because they drafted Jordan Love. And, they could say all the right things, obviously, because Rodgers is coming off of an MVP season, but they drafted Love to not to sit on the bench, for him to be the quarterback at bare bones minimum 2022. So that's the plan. That's the plan. And if you're a Packer fan, you're going to be miserable. So the calls have been off the charts from Packers fans, from the fans of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Scheinbox question, the team that was the biggest loser in NFL free agency was blank and why? The team that was the biggest loser in NFL free agency was blank and why. Make sure you have some fun filling in the blank. And you can tweet us at Adam Schein at Mad Dog Radio, at Here's Mikey Fitz, at The Bob Stew. And Robert is going to read the results of the Scheinbox question coming up in the final hour of the show. And remember, for exclusive behind-the-scenes photos of Schein on Sports, you can follow the show on Instagram. And there's a great picture up from the amazing interview with Buddy Boeheim. I appreciate all the nice words on that. You can certainly check out that picture and follow the show on Instagram at Adam Schein. Now, we talked about Fernando Tatis Jr. getting removed from a spring training game early yesterday. We will certainly sprinkle in a ton of baseball today. Before we get back to your calls, I want to hit on the Alabama Pro Day, which is always a scene and it's always a big deal, and Nick Saban knows how to make sure that it's an event, and it promotes his program, and it promotes his players, and there's a great feeling when it comes to the Alabama Pro Day. Like, there's just something special in the air. NFL Network covers it brilliantly, like the major event that it is, and it's become. And it's going to be really interesting to follow the careers here of Smith and Waddle and Harris and Mr. Mac Jones. Couple of things on the Alabama Pro Day and how it relates to these players and prospects and how they're going to fit into the NFL draft. I think that what Najee Harris did yesterday, showing up at the Pro Day and driving when his flight was canceled, Adam Schefter reported this, got in the car and drove for 9 hours. I mean, you want to talk about a great player, great talent, great character guy. I mean, I think that's awesome. I think he's going to be a really good NFL running back. I think he's going to have a long, sustained career. You know, we talked about teams that could use a running back in the first round, starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though if you're a Steeler fan, you don't want them pigeonholing themselves into you must draft this position. So, you know, I think that he's going to be a really good pro. I think Waddle is going to end up being the third receiver selected in this draft. I think that you're going to see Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith go ahead of him. You know, I'm not worried about Smith's weights. I'm not worried about his heights. You know, I know he checked in at 170. He's going to stand on everything he did at prior workouts, and I'm more than okay with that. I think Smith is going to be a star. Look, I would not give any criticism to any team that picked him at any point in the draft. I'm not saying Miami's taking him at 3. If Miami took him at 3, I would endorse the pick. You know, Miami's going to have this great opportunity with Tua Tagovailoa to surround him. And they just signed Will Fuller. A phenomenal opportunity here to go out and have the ability to get a weapon with that third overall pick and make sure that Tua is surrounded appropriately. And it could be Jamar Chase, it could be Devontae Smith, and it could be Kyle Pitts. And one of those guys would just be a home run, including Smith. I also think, tying it in with one of the big topics of the day today, I think Smith would be excellent for the Philadelphia Eagles. Excellent for Philadelphia. And you could see if, you know, these quarterbacks end up going for them in the top 5, for them in the top 8 or 9. You know, you might be able to get incredible value with these receivers as you move along in the first round, which leads me to Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones can play. Now, I think that Mac Jones is the 5th quarterback in this draft. You know, Trevor Lawrence, to me, is clearly number 1. Zach Wilson and Trey Lance and Justin Fields. I happen to like these guys a lot as well. You know, people say, well, Mac Jones, you know, not much of an athlete, you know, certainly a pocket passer. He's incredibly accurate, can make all the throws. You see, I know people debate winning on the collegiate level and whether or not it matters. And there are exceptions to every rule. Look, you have to dive deep on everything. The completion percentage, there's no blanket statement when it comes to how to judge a college prospect. Here are 2 easy examples. The Josh Allen completion percentage at Wyoming, if you talk to anyone and dug deep like we did, was always a myth. And you knew it would get better with the right system, right players, right people around him in the pros. You always knew that was going to be the case. Wyoming did not have any receivers, and Josh Allen had an unbelievable work ethic. Patrick Mahomes didn't win in college. If you studied the reasons why, you knew that was not going to hold him back at the NFL level. I think for certain guys, Jalen Hurts is under this umbrella. What they do galvanizing a team is impressive. What they bring to the table, and this matters in terms of the 5th quarter, in my opinion, of playing the position of quarterback, that matters. So Mac Jones, his tangibles and his intangibles, they might not be worthy of the top 10, but you put him on, I don't know, San Francisco, you put him on New England, you put him on New Orleans, and he's going to be in position to just be dynamite and have a long, excellent NFL career. You know, I'm also going to be interested, and I heard Mike Tannenbaum say this on Get Up last week, on Mike Greenberg's outstanding ESPN show. You know, Carolina is rumored to have a lot of interest in someone like Mac Jones, if in fact they don't make a trade for a veteran quarterback. Look, Mac Jones under Joe Brady with those weapons at wide receiver, that can be a good situation. What if 4 quarterbacks go early? Mac Jones going to the Denver Broncos with, obviously, Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler and Noah Fant and a defense that can help him. Certainly can take over some football games. That could be a very positive here when you look at it. So I think Mac Jones is going to be a big-time success. I don't think he's going to end up going in the top 10. If it was Carolina or Denver, if the other quarterbacks were off the board, I want to see who else is there. But I want to have an open mind about that, and I think there could be a lot of positives there, no question about it. It's going to be very interesting to see where Mac Jones goes. But make no mistake, if he gets drafted by a really good team with a really good coach and a really good offensive coordinator, Mac Jones is going to be a big-time success in the National Football League. We will get into the biggest story of the day in the NBA and get back to your outstanding telephone calls right after this.